Today we're going to explain the logic behind all of the puzzles in the lab and show you how to solve them all also in the escape simulator. So we've started in the room here. Take a quick look around and see what we have to work with. Obviously it looks like we have a keypad here. There's almost some equations or some solutions on the board in front of us. We've got periodic table of elements. Looks like obviously something that we can create here. We're combining a few things here. We've got a medicine cabinet on the wall, and then a room that doesn't look like we can get into, but apparently there's some nitrogen in here. So where we would start in this room is we want to first solve this keypad here. So we can see that there's red, white, and blue. There's nothing else really in this room aside from this molecule here that really has those colors on it. So it's usually a pretty good indicator of a starting point. So there is one here. There's also another two just in this drawer here. So we'll go ahead and pick them up. And now what also we need is this tablet here will help us interpret kind of what we're looking for to be able to solve this puzzle. So in reading this medical log here, we can see that they've made 3 molecules, so we have those 3 now. What we're trying to do is find the difference between all of them, and that'll give us the colors and the numbers to be able to put into this keypad. So we can zoom on down in here. So as that tablet mentioned, really what we're looking for is to find the differences between these. So as we can see, we'll start with red since it's the first number in the keypad. We have 2 red here. We have 3 red here. And we have 3 red here. So the difference between the two, obviously with 2 out of the 3 of them having 3 red nodes, the difference is going to be 2. So we can go ahead and plug that in. And we're going to look to do the same now with the other colors. So we're going to look to see if we can spot the difference in the white. So we have 4 here. We have 3 here, so our difference is either going to be 3 or 4. We have 4 here, so our difference is 3. So we can go back to the keypad, put 3 in, and we'll look to do the same now with blue. So we see we have 2, we have 3 blue, and we have 2 blue. So the outlier obviously being the 3 again for blue. We'll go ahead, 2, 3, 3, and that opens that cover there. So that's that puzzle solved. Now inside here we have a controller and we have a blowtorch. So we can go ahead and try and solve the controller puzzle. So you can see that there's something glowing blue on the back of this. So what you want to do is just obviously inspect it, flip it around, and this shows us right here how to interpret these numbers. So obviously with 1, it spells the number for us, and it's using what looks to be the elements on the periodic table here. So just to kind of confirm everything, we'll look and just double check that O is 8 and that NE is 10. So we'll check on here and we see that the O is 8, the NE is 10. So that'll show us basically what we need to do and how we need to line everything up here to be able to get this number, or sorry, this letter, and then this letter also. Because we have our first one, we can go ahead and plug 1 in. So we're going to look now to find the next number. So we do that by finding 90 and finding 75 to see what that spells. So we can look through here, and everything seems to follow in order. Once you get to like 89, 90 here, it's just showing that this is essentially going to be in a different area of the table. So we find 90 here, so it's TH, and then we need 75. So 75 isn't in the lower numbers, but it is up top here. So TH, RE, not exactly 3, but close enough that we can go through and plug that in. So we have 1, 3, and now we have 99 and 119. So we'll look to do the same thing. We'll find our 99. So it's E and S. So that also gives us the TH, RE, and then here's the E, other E, to just kind of cap off the 3. And then obviously we have the S here, and we needed 119 is the IX. So that really spells 3 and 6. So we can go ahead and plug 6 into here, and that unlocks that. So now we have the option to connect to a few different devices. The cameras, there are 2 different cameras in this room, but honestly we don't need them. What we're gonna want to hook up to is the robot. So In hooking up to the robot now, you can see that you have the option to kind of look around. There's our feet there. So you have the option to look around, and then you can also drive forwards, backwards, left, and right. But what we need to do is, obviously you can see that our vent duct here is covered by a grate. What we want to do is use the blowtorch to open this up for us. So activate, inspect the blowtorch, and hit the red trigger to activate the flame, because we're going to want to use this now to burn this grating away. So now that you have that, just go through and trace the square, and you can see that it's starting to peel that away. And also, while we have this, because we know we have some nitrogen in the corner here, and we're likely going to need it for one of the recipes, spoiler, we are, we'll cut this off too, because there's no real way without using the robot vacuum to get into this room. So we can burn that grate away, move that out of the way, just so our robot has room to get into this vent duct here. We'll move that grate, just to kind of have a little precursor here. What we're trying to do in this second room, obviously you see, even with the grate burned away, we can't actually reach the nitrogen that's on this table. So really, to kind of set this up, what we want to do is use the robot to navigate into this room, and we're going to want to hit this table leg here to knock this nitrogen on the floor. So using that controller, we can now use our robot here, drive forward. The controls for this are pretty clunky, so just kind of a forewarning there that it is a little kind of slow. But so just using our right direction and then driving forward to kind of navigate the vent duct there, and you're going to want to spin, and like I said before, just hit that table leg. So as soon as you do that, you'll lose connection, and you can kind of hear some things fall to the ground. You can see now that the table or the countertop has fallen and the nitrogen's on the floor. Having burned away this grate, we now have access to be able to reach all of this nitrogen here, which, like I said, we're going to need for one of the recipes anyways. So you can turn around, put all of the nitrogen on the desk here. Now what we want to do is try and recreate this sodium hydroxide aluminum. What we're trying to really make is the sodium aluminate. And we're going to need that for one of these here. I don't remember if it's the coolant or for the crystal. Okay, so it's for the crystal here. You can see that sodium aluminate is not detected. Neither is the nitrogen. So in going through these, the drawers here, here's our sodium hydroxide, but we still need the aluminum to be able to make this sodium aluminate. Where we get the aluminum from is conveniently there's a metal recycling kind of compartment here. So we don't want the actual large pieces themselves. What we want is the scraps underneath. So you can see by moving those, there's some small aluminum pieces in here. We really only need one, but then also what we want is this sodium hydroxide. Plug it into this here, and you'll see that fills out the left side. Open this material slot and drop one of the aluminum inside. That'll close, and now we see that it's filled out this side. So by following this recipe, we have our aluminum, we have the sodium hydroxide. We want to use this machine to combine them, and now we've successfully created the sodium aluminate, which is perfect. So now to create the crystal, we need to put in the nitrogen and our sodium aluminate. The sodium's there, and we need to find our nitrogen, which is obviously just from this room here. Perfect. So now we can go through and create our crystal. So with this, what we want to do is recreate essentially what's on our post-it note on the side here. And to do that, you need to use these hard edges to kind of create this outline. So really the best place to start, you can start anywhere on here, but I always kind of just start with this piece. Select this and plug it in the corner here. So you can see with this, we've made this hard edge, and that's just this here. Now what we want to do is go through and try our best to create the rest of it. So that's this piece here now. We can go through and plug this in. So now we have this hard edge, this whole piece, and here. So to create the rest of it, we will plug this in. we will use this here. We can plug this in, plug this in, and this here. So now you can see we've created our crystal. We'll turn around, and for the crystal, what we need to do is position the scanner manually, as it says here. So you just want to drag the crystal slot up to where we need to actually repair the crystal in the middle of this. Once it says that we're able to insert the crystal, go ahead and select it from your inventory, and you can see that it's repairing the damage here. Now what's next is we can remove these, because if you remember, to create the coolant now, we need helium. So we can pull the helium off the table, and we're going to go through and we're going to do the same thing for the coolant. So we'll clear this, and now we'll just basically do the same thing as we did with the crystal and plug and play to recreate the coolant diagram. So plug these in here, and we will plug this in. So now you can see we've got this hard edge here and a few of our peaks for the coolant. So that edge there and our peaks. Now we can do the rounded edge and start to do our bottom peaks here, and then we'll try and do the bottom trough. So you can see there's our bottom trough piece and our bottom peaks. We just need to get this last piece now to finish this shape off, and there we have that. So here's our coolant. Now we turn around and plug it in just to the bottom here, and you can see that our crystal in the middle of the room has filled, unlocking our main escape door. Open the door, and we've completed the room. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did, give us a like and subscribe to Friendly Frenzy Games for more guides, tips, and tricks.